It is a day the city will never forget. That's when more than 100,000 residents and visitors stunned our city in a humbling way, standing side by side, some holding hands, many crying, watching the procession carrying Muhammad Ali.
Well, the route moved him past many of his childhood places, leading to Cave Hill Cemetery. The date was June 10th, 10 years ago, 2016, and we welcome Lonnie Ali with us today. Today marks day one of the Ali Fest in Louisville, created right after he died.
And the next 7 days will include the launch of the Day of Compassion on Wednesday, the day he died 10 years ago. Thank you so much. It's 10 years.
Can you believe it?
I mean, you remember that day when people were
so vividly
embracing each other and
right.
Pure strangers. We had no violent crime for a week.
You know, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because this city was so wonderful. It was that shining beacon on a hill. People came here from all over the world to pay their last respects to Muhammad, and this city and the citizens here opened their arms to everyone. Mm-hmm. They didn't even know who half of them were, right? And half of these people who came had never met Muhammad in their lives, but they wanted to come pay their final respects. And Louisville was just fabulous, from the mayor's office, the police department, citizens in the neighborhood, people. I mean, you've never seen anything like this. It was more than I expected, but it's everything he expected.
Well, Lonnie, I was out there that day. We talked about Cave Hill Cemetery, and I was right there. Mm-hmm. And the amount of people that came and this feeling of togetherness and unity. I have never, ever experienced anything like that in my life in Louisville, and it meant so much to me as a reporter to get to cover it and be there.
It was really like a final gift from him.
It was. It really was. It was arranged that way. I mean, his memorial service was arranged as a final teaching lesson from him, when he had everybody up there from all walks of life, different nationalities, different religions, different politics, but everybody came together. But you know, that's what Muhammad was about. He was a uniter, and he was a man of compassion. And that's why we are celebrating that value that he brings, that he set the perfect example for. He was such a torchbearer for compassion, because that's the way he showed up every day. He spent a lot of time in this city. He loved this city greatly, but he spent a lot of time being a global citizen. And that's what we want to spread as part of his legacy, is this whole thing about compassion in action.
Let's talk about that, the Day of Compassion.
Yes.
That's why you're here for Wednesday, an annual global day of service and action. Tell me about this that you're launching for Wednesday.
Well, we're launching this because it's one of the values. We have the 6 core value principles of Muhammad that we celebrate at the Ali Center, but compassion, we thought, looking at everything that's going on in the world, the division, the polarization, the harmful rhetoric, people being pulled apart, families being pulled apart, communities and our nation. And this was the perfect time, at an inflection point almost, that we needed to remind people about compassion, of being neighborly, of trying to be part of the whole of humanity and not just be thinking of yourself. And you know, we saw that here in Louisville that week, right? And I really think it's more about the example and reminding people we are part of one humanity, and that we need to be together. We may not always agree with everything, but we need to treat each other with respect and compassion and empathy and kindness. And that's what he did every day.
And it's very important right now with how divided this country is right now.
Exactly.
Tell us about the Muhammad Ali Index. What is this?
The Muhammad Ali Index was because you know, everybody talks about compassion being this soft whatever, you can't measure it, it's a feeling, you know, but it isn't. It's something that can be measured. The index proves that. And it's how we measure what motivates compassion, how we activate compassion, and how it's tracking across the United States. The inaugural compassion report consisted of 12 U.S. cities. We are now expanding that report to a global report. It will now include those 12 cities we originally had, plus 8 more, so there'll be a total of 20, plus an additional 12 international cities as well. So we will be able to track compassion across the United States and internationally. And from the early reports of what we're getting, and even some of the indications from the initial report, compassion is is desperately wanted. People want to feel seen and heard and cared for. They want to connect with people. They're tired of all of this that we're engaged in now. And if you really understand it, it's really a small fraction of the population that continues. But it's the larger part that people do not hear or see about that really want to close that gap and come together as one.
As our time is winding down, let's talk about you. You're the interim CEO of the museum right now. You're running that. You were seeing all the visitors coming in. Tell us, give us a museum update, how it's doing, and the visitors who are coming in to see you.
Well, of course, you know, Muhammad always attracts international visitors. There's visitors from local. I mean, I meet people in there all the time who come to Louisville actually just to see the center. And of course, they take in other sites because Louisville has a lot to offer, right? But there's a lot of international visitors we attract. And right now, we're getting ready to start the reimagining of the center. We've just celebrated our 20th anniversary. There's a lot going on downtown. There's going to be a new Belvedere. There's going to be a new hotel and residence over where the old Humana building was. So there's a lot of going down in that corridor. And the Ali Center is going to do a reimagination of what the center could look like, starting with redoing the campus out front, inviting people in, because we want to engage people before they even get into the center of those doors.
Well, we thank you for your time. We so appreciate
you.
You're in the very studio the champ sat many years being interviewed by Milton Metz, Faith Lyles, and Kay Wood Ledford.
I know those were some interesting interviews.
Well, let's talk about June 3rd again. It'll mark the launch of the Day of Compassion this week, the annual Global Day of Service and Action inspired by Muhammad Ali's life and values. The Day of Compassion will serve as the centerpiece of Ali Fest, which is taking place right now through June 7th.